Let me speak to the light within you, the part of you that knows, deep down, that you were not placed on this earth to live small. You were born to create, to express, to imagine, to bring forth what never was and make it real. And yet, how many have said, "But I'm not creative"? How many have whispered to themselves, "That's for the artists, the visionaries, the lucky few"? No. That is a lie from the world of fear, and today, we break it. Hear me now. Creativity is not a talent. It is a force. A power. A living energy that is already within you, waiting to be set free. You are not the source of ideas. You are the channel. When you remove the blockages, when you align with truth, ideas do not trickle, they pour. Declare with me. Ideas come to me easily and abundantly. Say it like thunder and watch the skies open. You see, every word you speak sets a law in motion. When you speak lack, you receive lack. When you speak creativity, you become a magnet for inspiration. The tongue is your paintbrush, and the canvas is the invisible world, soon to be made visible. But how, you ask, can I receive these ideas? You must first clear the channel. Let go of fear. It is the enemy of genius. Release doubt. It is the weight that sinks dreams. Free yourself from the grip of comparison, the chains of perfectionism. These are illusions. Sweep them aside and say, "I am ready. I am willing. I am open." And now, look within. The world says, "See with your eyes." But creation says, "See with your spirit." Imagination is not a child's game. It is the birthplace of every miracle. What you dare to see, you will begin to attract. What you visualize with love, you will manifest with power. And when the idea comes, move. Do not wait for certainty. Certainty is the trap of the timid. Instead, act in boldness. Walk even when the road is foggy. Leap, and the net shall appear. Every step taken in faith births another idea, another opportunity, another door where there was only a wall. You are not separate from greatness. You are its vessel. You are not waiting for inspiration. It is waiting for you. So stand tall. Speak your word. Clear the path. See with the inner eye. And act with fierce faith. And the most creative ideas will not just come to you, they will chase you down. There is a power so simple, yet so mighty, that most people overlook it every single day. That power is the spoken word. It is not just noise carried on breath. It is the instrument through which the invisible becomes visible. Words are seeds. When spoken with intention and belief, they fall into the soil of the universe and return multiplied. If you desire creative ideas, if you long to be inspired even when you don't feel like a creative person, then the very first act is to speak it into being. The universe responds not to passive wishing, but to bold declarations. Your words must ring with certainty, not with hesitation. You must say, "Ideas come to me with ease. I am an open channel for divine inspiration." And not just once. Again and again, and again, until the vibration of those words reprograms the doubt in your mind. For the spoken word overrides inner chatter. It drowns out fear. It silences the critic. And it begins to rewire your reality. When you speak with faith, you are not asking the universe, you are commanding it. Not arrogantly, but with spiritual authority. You see, creation always begins with a word. The ancients knew this. Holy texts across cultures begin with the phrase, "In the beginning was the word." That is not metaphor. It is metaphysics. The word is the carrier of thought into form. It is how the unseen becomes seen. If you speak of lack, "I'm not creative, I can't think of anything, I'm stuck," you reinforce the very walls you want to tear down. But the moment you reverse the pattern and declare the opposite, even when you don't feel it yet, you begin to unlock the gates of inspiration. Words have a vibration. They summon ideas from the ether. They are spells in the truest sense. Why do you think it's called spelling? You cast a spell every time you speak. And when you speak words of power, you become a magnet for thoughts, images, visions, and solutions. Suddenly, You're in the shower and an idea comes. You're driving, and you get a nudge. You wake up with a dream you can't forget. That is not random. That is your word returning to you. But here is the key. Speak as if it has already happened. Say it in the present tense. Not, I hope creative ideas come, but creative ideas are already flowing to me now. That is the language of faith. That is the dialect of manifestation. And when you begin to speak your word daily, as a ritual, as a practice, as a decree, you step into alignment with the creative force of the universe. You don't need a fancy journal, a spark of genius, or a lightning bolt from the sky. All you need is your voice, your conviction, and your willingness to claim your inheritance. Speak it, own it, and watch the ideas rush to meet your word. Creativity does not struggle to reach you. It flows endlessly, like a river. The only thing that stops it, blocks it, is you. Not because you lack talent, not because you aren't worthy, but because your inner world is cluttered with fear, doubt, and overthinking. These are the great thieves of inspiration. They do not come with noise or fanfare. They creep in quietly, like shadows, and slowly close the door between you and your divine ideas. If you want to generate powerful, life-changing ideas, even if you've never thought of yourself as creative, you must first clear the channel. Fear is the first and loudest intruder. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of being wrong, of being laughed at, of not being good enough. Fear says, what if you try and no one listens? Fear whispers, you're not like them. You're not creative. And if you listen long enough, you begin to believe it. But fear is a liar. It is the enemy of genius. It speaks in limitation and dresses up as logic. But you must treat fear like fog. It looks dense, but walk through it and you'll see, it's nothing. Speak to it. Say, I am no longer available for fear. And keep moving. Then comes doubt, the quieter twin of fear. Doubt doesn't scream, it questions. It undermines. It eats away at certainty with slow erosion. You get an idea, and before you can breathe life into it, doubt steps in. Is this even original? Hasn't someone already done this? What if it's not good enough? Doubt is not truth. Doubt is a test. Will you believe the doubt, or will you believe the divine spark that gave you the idea in the first place? You must learn to ignore the voice of doubt like background noise. You are not required to fight it, just refuse to obey it. And finally, the most seductive trap of all, overthinking. The belief that if you just plan a little more, research a little deeper, perfect it a little longer, then maybe the idea will be worthy. But creativity does not bloom under pressure. It withers in overanalysis. The mind was meant to serve inspiration, not control it. When you think too much, you block the flow. You trade magic for mechanics. The greatest ideas do not arrive fully formed. They arrive in flashes, sparks, nudges, and whispers. Let them come. Don't trap them in endless questioning. To be a vessel for true creativity, you must become clear. Like an open sky. Like still water. Let go of what clutters the soul. Release the need to be right. Forgive yourself for past failures. Detach from outcomes. Say to yourself, I trust the process. I trust myself. I trust the source that gives me these ideas. And then, watch what happens. Watch how inspiration returns, how clarity emerges, how solutions you never considered appear out of nowhere. The moment you clear the channel, creativity doesn't just trickle in. It rushes, it floods, it overflows. Because it was never gone. It was only waiting for you to make room. The world trains your outer eyes to see only what already exists. It tells you to be realistic, to be practical, to accept the visible world as final. But the outer world is merely a reflection of past thoughts, old beliefs, and yesterday's creations. If you want something new, if you want truly creative, fresh, transformative ideas, you must stop relying on what you see with your physical eyes and begin to see with the inner eye. The inner eye is the eye of the spirit, the eye of imagination. It does not wait for proof, it provides it. Everything that has ever been created was first seen in the invisible realm. The airplane, the light bulb, the computer, the skyscraper, all born in the invisible world of imagination before they were built in the physical. The same is true for every breakthrough, every story, every invention, every work of art. They were seen first with the inner eye. Not through logic, not through intellect, but through vision. You have that same gift. You have the power to imagine what is not yet real, and in doing so, you begin to make it real. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop of the mind where reality is shaped. When you visualize an idea with clarity, when you feel it, when you explore it in your mind as if it's already here, you begin to awaken dormant energy. You activate faith. You pull possibilities toward you. You shift your focus from what is missing to what is becoming. The clearer the vision, the faster the manifestation. But you must guard your imagination carefully. Don't use it to rehearse worst-case scenarios. Don't use it to replay your failures or fuel your fears. Use it as a sanctuary of inspiration. Imagine ideas flowing to you with ease. Imagine yourself stepping into creative flow. Picture your work, your message, your solution impacting others. Hear the applause. Feel the joy. See the outcome in your mind until it begins to feel inevitable. That is the secret. When the inner world becomes more real than the outer world, you become unstoppable. And when you imagine boldly. Don't censor the idea. Don't shrink it to fit your past. See it in full color, in high detail. See it unfolding perfectly, not because you are forcing it, but because you trust the source behind the idea. What you can see inwardly, you will begin to attract outwardly. Life begins to rearrange. People, resources, moments, all align to match the picture in your mind. Your imagination is a sacred tool. It is your divine blueprint. Every time you close your eyes and see a vision of what could be, you are not escaping reality. You are writing it. You are the architect. You are the dreamer and the builder. You are not waiting for inspiration to arrive. You are seeing it before it comes, and by seeing it, you are calling it forth. That is the true power of the inner eye. Ideas are living seeds, but they need action to grow. Without movement, even the most brilliant idea will wither and fade back into the realm of forgotten potential. Inspiration without action is just a fleeting moment. But when you take a step, even a small one, you breathe life into the idea. You turn the invisible into the visible. You show the universe that you are ready to co-create, not just dream. Faith is the fuel, and action is the match that sets everything in motion. The mistake many make is waiting for perfect clarity. They wait for a sign, for permission, for every detail to be in place. But divine ideas rarely come with a full instruction manual. They arrive as whispers, as nudges, as sudden sparks. They come dressed as uncertainty, asking, "Will you trust me anyway?" Faith means moving even when you don't know the whole path. It means walking forward when all you can see is the next step. And as you walk, more of the path is revealed. It is not meant to be seen first. It is meant to be created as you go. There is a spiritual law at work here. Action, taken in faith, multiplies inspiration. The moment you act, you set off a chain reaction. New insights come. New people appear. Doors you didn't even know existed begin to open. It's as if the universe had been waiting for you to prove your readiness. One act of courage tells the divine, "I am serious. I am available. I am willing." And in return, more ideas, more resources, and more momentum begin to flow. But don't think your action has to be dramatic. You don't have to quit your job, write a book overnight, or launch a company in a week. What matters is the energy behind the action. Is it aligned? Is it bold? Is it full of belief? Even a small, simple step taken in faith is powerful. Make the call. Write the sentence. Sketch the concept. Share the vision. Do something and do it now, not when you feel ready, but because you choose to be ready. The greatest enemy of creative action is self-doubt. That lingering voice that says, what if it doesn't work? But the real question is, what if it does? What if the idea you're holding could change someone's life? Maybe even your own. Faith means trusting that if the idea was given to you, you are also equipped to bring it to life. The resources may not be visible yet, but they are already moving toward you. You don't have to know how it all ends. You just have to begin. Every time you move in faith, you expand your capacity for more. More creativity, more courage, more clarity. The flow increases because motion creates momentum. The stagnant becomes alive. And soon, what began as a single idea becomes a living reality. Not because you had all the answers, but because you dared to act before you did. That is how ideas grow. That is how miracles begin.